Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page here at Facebook. The actual name of it is Star Nations Magazine, Radio Network, and Publishing page. And I'm your host for this, as Elise Miller calls it, Neshi's Non-Show. I'm Neshi Locatz. Welcome. And it is Tuesday, November 13th. We're right smack dab in the middle of the month, aren't we? Yeah. It's, every month goes by really quickly, right? Always. Seems that way anyway. Hello, Rochelle. Hello, Julie. Good to have you ladies with me this afternoon. Welcome to the non-show, right? It is gorgeous here. It's sunny. Cold, but it's sunny and kind of breezy. So George has had a really good time outside. He likes playing in the snow. We don't have a whole lot of snow. It's maybe an inch at best. And so it's measurable, but not really deep. And he's awake. I don't know if you guys can see him. I can't lift him up in my lap anymore, but here's George. George is on Facebook. Look, yeah, see? He's a good boy. Most of the time, anyway. Most of the time, aren't you? Yeah. And so anyway, we're going to do some calming stuff here. I have lavender for him. He's 4 months old today. 4 months old today, and he's I don't know, 30, almost 35 pounds, something like that. He's getting big. He's a big boy, and he's doing pretty well actually. We're doing some training with him. Paid a trainer to come in, and actually, you know who's getting trained, don't you? Paul and I. Oh my gosh! And so, Paul and I are trying to get on the same page with how I know he is getting big, Stephanie. So we're on the same page when using the same phrases and that kind of thing. So he's got a training lesson tomorrow morning, and then he has puppy daycare in the afternoon and on Thursday too. So yeah, he's actually a busy boy. He's got lots of jobs to do. After our reading with Leslie Saranesi a week ago, I think it was, that it's a little bit better to communicate with him, knowing what he wants and what he doesn't want. And now that we know that he wants to know what his job is, we've been actually telling him what aspects are, like when to go get the mail, taking the garbage out. Coming up here is work. We're going to work. We're at work, Georgie. You're supposed to be over here by me. So anyway, that's George. And Mom's doing pretty good. Today is a pretty good day for her. It's sunny out, so that always helps, right? Always helps. We got some good stuff going on here at Star Nations. And before we get started with that, what I'd like to do is share out the broadcast, right? We haven't done that yet. So I'm going to take my phone and I am going to share the broadcast, the live stream, and George down. Good boy, down. There we go. And here we are.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh. All right, got to turn down my sound. And while he's here, we're going to give him a little dose. Just a drop of lavender oil around the ears. That always works. Around the cowl. Oh my gosh, he's so funny. Keeps me laughing. He does. All right, so we're sharing it out. I've got, let's see. We're doing it this way. We're going to like it, and I'm going to share it to my timeline. And that means that and I'm live streaming. And then we're just going to ask them to join us. There we go. There's the first one. And then we're going to share it out to the Star Nations Radio Network closed group and the Academy closed group. And hopefully get it out of his system. And by the time we start the card draw information, he'll be asleep. Live streaming. And please join. There we go. You know, one of the things that I noticed with George is that he misses Paul. He misses Paul. Paul spent, 12 days with him. They're primarily their buddies that entire time. And so I think he misses him quite a bit. All right. And today we have coffee. Why? Because George had a bad night last night, so we need the caffeine. Yeah, he's also teething really bad too. Let's see who else is here. Let's see, Michelle, Stephanie, and Elise is here. Hey, Elise. Good to see you guys in the chat. The card draw was very interesting. A lot of feminine energy. And I'm going to show all three of them at one time today so you guys can see what came up. All right, so we have the Shield Maiden came back. She has something else she wants to tell us, I guess. Shield Maiden, and then we have the Arrow, and we also have the Protection Guardian. So we have female energy going on here in the protection round. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly, whoops, got to get in the right order. Why the Shield Maiden is coming back to see us again. And she has come up in the card draw several times. I want to say maybe 6 or 7 times. Shield Maiden. Right? It says make plans and focus. Make plans and focus. And I do know that when a card appears multiple times, it's something that we really have to take notice of, right? Because there's energy there that keeps coming back around until we actually understand it or get the full meaning of it. So let's give it a whirl. Let's see if we can pull it together, okay? Yeah. We should know her stuff by heart pretty soon, huh? At least you'd think I would remember what page she was on. Page 72. It says, have a plan or strategy in place for moving forward. And, when I read that again and taking in her energy, the essence of that card, is that whenever we want to succeed at something, I was trying to look for a different word other than succeed. When we want to reach where we want to go or what we want to do, we always have some sort of plan, right? Some sort of plan. And not to have it so tight that spirit can't move within that and show us different ways of being able to get where we're going, right? And learn the lessons along the way. So those plans are really kind of important. They're important. Not to control everything, but it's important to be able to know the direction that you're going in. And early in the day, early, like I want to say, I don't know, probably around the 90s or so, late 80s. Whenever I would pray for guidance, ask for guidance, talk to my spiritual team, I was always saying, if this is for my highest good, then show me my next best step. I'm not very confident in this next step. So show me the best way that I can get there, right? Knowing that those life lessons were going to bring soul growth. And I do believe the lavender is working because he's settled down a little bit. You know, one of the things with this particular card draw today, there's one word that kind of links all of them together, and that's protection. And with the Shield Maiden, yesterday we were reading this one sentence. It says, her medicine helps us move beyond any unsettled feelings when our plans start to take shape and follow through with our strategies in order to be where we want to be. Long ago, in times gone by, the Shield Maidens would work together, and they would create these shield walls of protection. So she also shows us how to work with others in order to bring about our plans to fruition. And they also remind us that the ancestors' guidance that is coming to you now is to remind you that you have a warrior's heart and that you have it within you to be more prepared and focused than you have been recently. So have a strategy in place and let your guide support you as you move forward. And with this particular combination of cards, what I noticed is that the word protection came up for all three of them actually. And so when we're talking about the Shield Maidens, let's put that as plural, is that we do have not just the assistance in with our spiritual team, but we also have the assistance of those people who are closest to us, those people that we trust the most, right? Those people that we know that will tell us the truth and also love us dearly. Those are the people that when you're at your lowest, they're not walking away. They're not. I'm going to say something, and I don't mean it to be having prayer lesson, because I truly do believe in prayer. When those people who do more than just pray for you. Now, I'm not saying that it's less than a prayer, but they also provide action behind those prayers. So even if it's a telephone call, or even if it's a card in the mail, or if they live close enough, right? If they live close enough to be able to stop in and check on you, or if you have to do something really kind of scary, like when you have to go to court, when you're going through those divorces or those child support situations, traffic citations, those kinds of things, that they're more than willing and happy to be able to come and either drive you or just be with you, not necessarily have to take responsibility for anything other than to be by your side, right? So there's many different ways that you can have that interaction or that action of support, not belittling or taking anything away from prayer by any means, but those people who are the closest to us and we trust the most, those are the ones that come through with action, right? I don't know. Have you guys ever experienced that? And I certainly did late last year. And so I know who exactly is in my corner, right? I do. And I value them. I appreciate them a great deal. Yeah. All right. So let's just double checking the connection with my phone, making sure we were actually rolling with the live stream, because the messages look kind of wonky in the studio. Yeah. Okay. So with the Shield Maiden, it's possible what we're doing is talking and feeling out, sensing the Shield Maidens when they work together and they create the shield wall. In other words, they're using their shields. These, in the old days, they would use their shields, their protective shields, and they would stand shoulder to shoulder right? Shoulder to shoulder. And they would hold their shields up so that it created a wall. And so there were some who were on their knees so that they would be low, some that were standing, that very tall people were then in the next row, standing very close and right, up against the row in front of them, so that their shields would create this protective wall. Right? And when I was thinking about that this morning, that you could possibly have like 3 rows, the people on their knees, the very not so tall people, and then the tall shield maidens at the very back in the last row to hold their shields up and to create that protective wall. And I was thinking about the word shields. We've used the phrase shields up. Shields up. Have you ever heard that term, shields up? Hey, Polly Joe. Shields up in a spiritual community, spiritually minded people, that means that we have our protection. Whatever protection we use, we have it activated. If we didn't activate our protection in the morning consciously, then and you're having kind of a rough day, and you can tell that there's lower vibrational energies afoot, that you can, for a moment, take a break, pause, and ask your spiritual team to help you put your protection up, shields up, right? Yeah. And so that led me to thinking about how many people in the chat would know how to protect themselves. And when we're talking in multiples, shield maidens, to be able to have that contact, to say, you send out the SOS, right? And say, that I need help, protection, because blah, blah, blah is going on. And you have your inner circle, those that you trust, right? That you are asking them to put their shields up for you, to help shore up the protection. And they do that mainly through prayer, but also they can do that energetically, right? They can send you protection angels. They can say a prayer and send angels to you, protection angels, to assist you. So that's where my mind kind of went when I saw the draw. Right? Hey, Polly Joe's here. Hello, Polly Joe. Hey, I got to talk to you, lady. Maybe after the show, huh? I got to ask you a couple questions. A little Star Nation's business. All right. So the Shield Maiden. So she's come to our card draw several times since September. And this is the one piece that we really haven't talked much about, is the protection piece. Right? Female warrior. And as warriors go, they pledge themselves, especially the Viking, they pledge themselves to their clan. Yeah. They pledge themselves to their leader. And in the Viking world, in the ancient world, the women were equal to the men. I don't know what it's like in modern day, for those who have Viking lineage, that live in Norway or the North, Finland, and all through there. I don't know what it's like for them there, but in the old days, in the ancient ones, the men and the women were equal. Women could actually own land. They could have political power. They could be leaders in their own right, not just in their father's or husband's right, but in their own right. Yeah. Hey, Christine, one of my sisters is in the house. Hello, Christine. Polly Jo goes, hey, guys. Yes, after the show. Yeah, if you're not busy. And so with this particular card, for those who just came, the Shield Maiden is our first card. I had showed all three. All three cards have something to do with protection. So I wanted to have that conversation about protection. And so I'm going to ask that question. Okay, I'm going to ask that question again. Is that does every for those people who are in the live chat, do you have a method or way of to be able to protect yourself energetically? Energetically, yeah. And what usually goes hand in hand with that is also boundaries, healthy boundaries. hmm Because that protection with the boundaries, um, you can have boundaries in the physical world, you can have boundaries in the mental world, and also in the spiritual and the emotional. So, do you have boundaries up in any one of those areas? Um, and that is about self care too. It really is when you're setting boundaries. Um, Knowing what you're willing to allow in and what you're not. And usually that is connected to your peace of mind. Um, and usually shielding out, you know, those items or those people who bring a lot of drama that really isn't even connected to you. Those people who, um, they create drama around them. It's almost an addiction, almost, right? Polly Joe saying, yes, including my oil for psychic protection. Absolutely. In fact, Polly Joe, could you do me a favor and put your link to your website in the comment so that people know where they can go for your special blends of oils? Yeah, that would be great if you could do that. And do you have a blend that can help with setting boundaries? Or is that under the psychic protection blend? All right. Towards the end, I'm going to make sure we have some time so for those people who may not have a method for their protection, I will share one with you, okay? So at least you'll have something at hand. All right, so here we go. Here is the second card, Arrow. Arrow. And it says, surround yourself with protective energy. Surround yourself with protective energy. Yeah? Okay. Arrow. It's kind of funny that you'd have shield and arrow come up at the same time. And it was, yeah, okay. So it says, the message says, surround yourself with positive people and experiences and environments that makes you feel safe. Call on your angels and guides and ancestors to bring you protection, right? All right, so here, on the card, you have that circle of protection. You have the outer circle and you have the inner circle. And arrows can be used for protection. They can be used for a lot of different things. But with arrows, when depending on the culture, okay, because a lot of cultures had bow and arrows. It wasn't just Native Americans who had bows and arrows. Yeah. The English actually had the longbow, and the longbow went from the English to the Old Irish or the Celtic, and so because they didn't have that, they got that from the English. So many people had bow and arrow, and so they carry a certain energy to them with them. So bow and arrows were used for two reasons. Two reasons. One was protection, and the other one was for food. All right. Polly Joe says the big thing right now is boundaries. Yes, it is. Elise said, I need some of your oils, Polly Joe. Yeah. And Polly Joe says, a lot of drama projected at me in the last few days. Oh, It must be in the air. It must be in the air because it certainly has been something, something to feel. In fact, even today, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I woke up with a bit of a headache, which I don't get headaches very often. A bit of a headache, and so sometimes that means that my blood sugar is kind of wonky, you know. And I haven't had one of those headaches in quite a while. Um, and so it was enough for me to pay attention to it, and enough for it to give me an upset stomach, right? And so my energy, which is usually pretty high, isn't today. I can kind of feel it not in its usual form, right? And so I paused between Mervin's show and Polly Joe's show, and worked with grounding myself, and sat and spoke with my team about the headache and that sort of thing. And so part of it is about expansion. It is an expansion headache. Because not even Tylenol cut it. Lavender helped a bit. And thank you for those people who sent me Reiki. I appreciate that because it did help. But there's this, we've been talking about our gifts and our skills quite a bit. And I've been saying, that in the new vibration, in the new frequency, that sometimes we have to drop or release old ways of doing things because they no longer serve us. And we're looking at our belief systems and behaviors, what we grew up with, and letting go of those things that no longer serve us so that we can use our gifts in a fuller range, right? Well, this headache has more to do with the expansion thing, but it also has to do with what did you call it? Drama projected? Yeah. Yeah, drama projection. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that these cards came up today. Now, you have to know that my protection field that I use is, I believe in it 100%. It's been with me since 2002, and I actually started teaching it in 2012. Maybe it's 2013. And I'll tell you a little about that toward the end. All right, so with the arrow, we're going to show that arrow again. Here we go. That arrow. It says that arrows have long been revered as symbols of protection, as many native peoples would use the bow and arrow as a weapon of defense. When an arrow appears in meditation, dreams, or an oracle reading, it's a sign you need to protect yourself and what is important to you, because not everyone has the same intentions as you. This doesn't mean that people are intentionally wanting to hurt you, but they could be careless in their choices and actions, and this could actually affect you. There are energies around you that could lower your vibration, and it's important you become aware of them and aren't brought down by them. He goes on to say that if you're in a situation where you feel that not everything is as clear as it seems, your intuition, trust your intuition, as he's saying. There are energies in your current situation that aren't fully aligned with your intentions and your goals, or with kindness. Follow your intention about whom to trust and what to trust. If you can take time to retreat or step out of the situation to assess what's going to be beneficial for you, do so. In any event, this is a time to call on the energy of protection and place yourself in a space that feels safe. It feels safe. Yeah. All right. So Elise is asking if Polly Jo sells her oils online. And Polly Jo did put the link in the comment section to her website. Yeah, there you go. That's good. Excellent. And so, see, here is the second layer of protection that we're talking about, right? Yeah. Um, and especially when you are taking those steps and bringing out your gifts, when you are intending your heart's desire, right? When you put those two things together, sometimes you get attention, and some of that attention isn't a positive attention. There's jealousy, there's innuendos, there's it's the people. It's not you. It's not you. It's the other people who might be saying things about you or doing things that um, reflect badly on you. Yeah, it's at that. What's that saying? It's not your monkeys. It's not your circus. It's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to get your protection up, but to keep moving forward, and don't allow those people to impede your path. Now the thing is that they're also messengers, though. You have to pay attention to it. You have to give some focus to it. To ask the question is, what is this really about? Why are they here? Why is this a trigger for me? What am I supposed to do with this? You're asking your spiritual team this because there's soul growth with it. Those people are also messengers. They're letting you know. They're letting you know that you have to pay attention to it. And maybe it is about setting boundaries, healthy boundaries. Maybe because you don't have healthy boundaries or haven't set those. And so now you get an opportunity to learn about those. Um, and so it's not all negative and bad and um, dark. Okay. Um, it is also has an element of soul growth to it. That if you pay attention to what you are meant to do with it, um, and why it even came to you, right? That there's soul growth in it. Yeah. Yeah. Joe's laughing. Not my monkeys, not my circus. Yeah, that's true. All right. So that was arrow, and that is getting your protection up. Shields up. Shields up. And yesterday, remember when we were talking about our soul's desire, and we were saying that some people will not be very supportive about it, right? Especially if you mention it out loud. That's why a lot of times we don't talk about our soul's desires, is because we get the the unwarranted or unsolicited advice. Um, we get all the reasons why it's not going to be a good choice or for it to happen. Those people who aren't really supportive in it, right? And most of that is their own fear. That doesn't really have to do with you, but they're voicing their own fear. So what we need to do is set up that boundary. And as soon as you set the boundary, many of those people will automatically step back. They might not even be in your life anymore, or at least they'll be put on pause, right? Yeah. So it's actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing if you can look at it that way and look at it from a more positive point of view than a fatalistic or a negative point of view. Yeah. And we have the tools to do it. That's the cool thing. That's the cool thing. We already have the tools to deal with it. All right. So here we go. We're going to do the protection guardian. Drop your shields. Now, first we were told to put our shields up, right? And now this one is saying drop your shields. And why? Why? take a good look at the artwork on this card and the symbolism, right? Can't miss it. Her right hand, she's got a crystal in the palm of her hand. Can you see that? I think it's a crystal. Of course, if it's not a crystal, it could also be a symbol of some sort, right? Yeah. And of course, notice the earrings again. They're large, they're rather long, and that really is a symbol of clairaudience. It's listening to your spiritual team, being in that quiet place to listen. And a part of her headdress is the peacock feathers, right? And some of the symbolism for peacock is about Kuai Yin. Kuai Yin. Bodhisattva, who, when she died, she could have gone on to her soul's next experience. And what she chose to do was to stay with the two-leggeds, with the humans, because she hears the cries of the world, and she has a deep well of compassion, a deep well of compassion. A lot of love there. Like I was saying, it's an opportunity to create a better relationship with better boundaries. Absolutely. Yeah. Polly Joe says, I want a do not disturb sign around my neck. Yeah, I know what you mean. I said that George had a kind of a bad night last night, right? And so Paul and I didn't get a lot of sleep. And I was trying to take a 10-minute nap, just 10 minutes. And I couldn't get that in because George wouldn't leave me alone, and two, the phone kept ringing, or there was people needing to text me and that kind of thing. And so finally, I just got up and just set the table for lunch and said, okay, I guess I'm not going to get that 10 minutes. But that just means that I have to set up the boundaries, enforce those boundaries that I have for the evening, which is I am going to be in bed early, which means it's going to be before midnight. Hey, Barb's here. Hello, Barb. Welcome to the live stream. All right, so that third card that we got was Protection Guardian. Drop your shields. Drop your shields. And why would we drop our shields, right? Here's the message. Surround yourself with positive people and experiences and environments that make you feel safe. Call on your angels and guides and ancestors to bring you protection. Oops, I forgot to change the page. Wait a minute. Protective Guardian. Sorry about that. See, that's what happens when I'm lack asleep. Okay, we're going to do the Protection Guardian. If I can find her. Better take a look at the page. 112. All right, so she says, drop your shields. The message is, drop any shields of shame, resistance, and fear that are standing between you and your chances of enjoyment and fun. Know that you don't need to hide who you are or the gifts that you have. You were born to shine. The Protection Guardian is a feminine version of Archangel Michael. She's a fierce, protective, yet loving warrior angel who carries an indestructible shield of power and protection and will come to all who call on her. She'll help you to drop your fear-based shields and move into a loving and protective force field that will keep you safe, but will allow your gifts to shine out. Okay, so that's kind of telling us that we have to update and upgrade our shields. Yeah, that they're no longer based in fear. So you also have to be fully consciously and aware of your intention and the words that you use when you create those boundaries, when you create those shields. So you want to be able to be in a safe space so that you can live your life from your heart. In other words, your soul is leading, and that you have the ability to use your gifts unimpeded, right? Yeah, those boundaries. He goes on to say that you may have encountered shame or embarrassment in your past, but this is not your present. Angels are drawing close at this time to help you move beyond any limiting thoughts, emotions, and patterns that may be making you feel unsafe. Know that angelic protection is swirling around you at this moment and will help you move forward in a more fearless way. And whenever you see the word fearless, then you know that it's in an immense amount of love, because that's the opposite of fear, is love. Call on your guides for help in changing your frequency so you can feel safe and protected at this time. You are stronger than you think, and your angels and ancestor guides are here to help you to realize this now. All right. So when you put all three of these cards together, it is all about protection, and it is all about how we set our boundaries so that we can use our gifts and have soul growth, but not have to worry about lower vibrational anything, you know? And if they do come across, if they do come in, then you have to face them, learn about them, and then how do you best release them or let them go, remove them. And if you can do it in a very kind way, right? You know, and the thing is that the arrow, you know, is book like book ends, right? With the women, warrior women, guardian of protection, and the shield maiden. So the dropping of the shields is really dropping of any shields that you may have put in place based in fear. And how many of us have gone back and removed those, you know? Because unless we remove them, they remain there. So it made me think about, God, which ones do I still have in place that really don't need to be there anymore? Or they need to be updated. They need to be brought into the current frequency and vibration. It's a little cleanup. Stephanie says, Polly Joe, would you do a meditation sometime next year on the Well of Dreams? Yeah, good one. Well of Dreams. Yeah. So let's talk about that protection thing, because we got about not quite 15 minutes. When you're working with your protection field, you know, there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. There's actually several. And the one that I like the most, that's the easiest to do, I think, is especially when you're first starting out and you don't really know what ones to use and what does, can get kind of confusing because there's so many out there. A very simple one is to take that pause, take a nice deep breath in. And the exhale, you know, is blowing it out. And the reason why we do that is so we get more oxygen in, and it also helps us to relax, right? Brings us back to our body, to the present moment. And so you want to be fully present when you do this, all right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to surround yourself with a white light, a bright white light bathing in it. And then you're going to call to your spiritual team. And you're going to ask those that are on your protection squad, we'll call it. And you call them in. And you ask them to surround you 360 degrees, to surround you with protection. And in your imagination, you can even have them locking arms, and they're standing around you so that they whatever is coming through has to go through them first, and they're not going to allow that in, whatever that is. And then what you're going to do is you're going to ask for one of your protectors to be the bouncer, the escort, so that any current low vibrations that you may have around you, whether they're family members or friends or something like that, that, you feel more uncomfortable and not safe around them, then you ask them to be removed energetically. And when that happens, physically, it'll follow. And so that they will leave on their own accord, it seems. But they were actually escorted out. And so the bouncer actually checks IDs before they come in. It's a two level protection. You got your ring of protection around you, and then you have your bouncer. And that bouncer checks people's IDs, life form IDs, whether it's a two-legged, a human, whether it's an animal, whether it's a thought form, they all get checked. Is this for your highest good? If it's not for your highest good, it's sent away. If it is for your highest good and allowed in, and you deem it negative, you really have to kind of stand back and evaluate it and discern what part of this is important to me. What am I supposed to learn from this? Ask that question to your team. They'll tell you. And that's why it was allowed in, is because it was really based on your highest good for soul growth. Yeah. See, you still have free will, though. Don't have to necessarily face it. I hope you do, but you don't necessarily have to. That's an easy one. Protective fields like that, they last about 12 hours, depending on what you ingest and what kind of thought forms you have yourself. Your field will begin to weaken. And depending on what you ingest, what you take into your body, it can actually kind of look more like Swiss cheese than something that's really helpful for you. Full of holes, right? And so they last about 12 hours. And so, you want to kind of get in the habit of doing them in the morning and at night. So before you leave the house for whatever reason in the morning, whether it's work or maybe it's working out, I don't know, is that you do your protection before you leave the house. And then when you get home, 12 hours later, you're going to be doing it again. Same, setting the protection field. And that way you're going into your sleep time and dream time protected. So every 12 hours, about. There are others that are longer lasting and more durable. We'll put it that way. There's the Merkaba, and many of you have heard about the Merkaba. It's our light body, an energy that surrounds us. The Merkaba is impervious. Okay, it's got 5 layers of light built in, and now that doesn't mean that opportunities for growth don't come through. They certainly do. But when something comes through and you deem it negative or low vibration, that's for you to take notice of it and really examine it and say, what is this? Why is it here? What am I supposed to learn from it? How am I supposed to learn from it? Yeah, and you look at it more in a positive light than a negative, right? And with the Merkaba, it's a field that travels with you wherever you go. And depending on how you have it activated, if you have it activated from your heart, from actually the balance between the heart and the mind, it is permanent and stable because it's created from the heart, from a unified field. And if it's created from just the mind, it's created in a polarity field, which means that you have to do some work in order for it to be stable and permanent. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It does. It's just that it's not as durable as the other. And so there's many different ways to activate your Merkaba and work with it, and for it to be a protective field around you. And so I activated mine in 2002 in the old-fashioned way, and did the upgrade in 2012. And so we call it the organic Merkaba, and the other one's synthetic. But yeah, so when something comes through, I stand back and I look at it. It's like, okay, what's going on? Why did it come through? And to learn from it. Yep, to learn from it. Yeah. So we've got a few minutes. How would you guys like to do a protective field around you for those who don't have one up? I'll wait a couple seconds here and let you reply. And for those who just arrived, these are the 3 cards that we got today. It's all about protection. Shield Maiden, Arrow, and then this one is the Protection Guardian. Okay. And so we have 2 female protectors, warriors. The Protection Guardian is the female aspect of Archangel Michael. And the arrow is about having a protective field around you. And we also talked about boundaries, establishing healthy boundaries. So, he goes, yes. All right. So, if you're seated in a chair, you want to have your feet flat on the floor. Okay. You can do this one standing if you want. Or lying down, either way. But if you're standing, I think it's the best because you get this feeling of or sensing the your guardians around you, your protective field around you. Okay. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your feet and your legs uncrossed. You want to be an open circuit. Okay. And in a second, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in. And when you do this, what I'd like you to do at the top of that breath, just to hold it just for a second before you exhale. All right. And this one is just so that we're bringing everybody to the present moment and back to their bodies. All right. So here we go. You're going to take a big deep breath in, really filling up your lungs. Holding it just for a second. And on the exhale, blowing it out. Because when you do that, you can kind of feel your muscles relax a bit. They have more oxygen, for one thing. Okay. We're going to do it one more time, okay? Big, deep breath in. At the top, holding it. Holding it just for a second. And on the exhale, blowing it out. There you go. Good. And now if you could just call to yourself, all aspects of yourself, to bring you to this moment. For the mental mind who is thinking about things from the past or projecting forward, of things that have to get done this evening, anything like that, is just calling yourself to the present moment, feeling your physical body. We want you fully present. Good. Okay, and you're just breathing easy and naturally. And you might even want to close your eyes. You don't have to, but you can if you'd like. And just imagine being surrounded by a white light. A white light. This is the light of the Creator's protection surrounding you, all the way around you, all the way around you. And in your imagination, imagine expanding that white light so that when you reach as far as you can possibly reach without moving your feet, that's where you want the edge of the white light to be, okay? So really doing a stretch, not moving your feet, and you can feel where the boundary is of that creator's protection field. Imagining being surrounded by that white light. Okay? Good. And now, in your imagination, imagine calling to your spiritual team, the whole team, everybody that works with you on your spiritual team for your soul's growth, for your experience here on earth. Calling to them, bringing them close, and then asking those that are a part of your spiritual team to please step forward and to create a circle around you at the edge of that white light, creating a protective circle all the way around you, and imagining them locking their arms, right? They're holding each other's arms locked like this. A protective field around you. Those that are on your spiritual team, creating this protective circle around you. And they're facing outward so they can see what's coming in all directions. Good. And now, in your imagination, calling to a member of your spiritual team of the highest vibration that helps you with your protection, to be the bouncer, to be the one who checks those energies wanting to come through, that they're there, if they do come through, it's for your highest good. And if they're not, that they're escorted out, away. So the only energy that comes through for your protection is for your highest good and for your soul's growth. Good. Now just taking a nice, easy, deep breath in. And on the exhale, thanking your entire team and those that assist you with your protection for assisting you, and knowing that they're going to be in this protective field around you for as long as possible. Good. Good. And when that feels complete for you, you can open your eyes if they're closed. You can stretch. You can come back to the present time, knowing that you have a full circle of protection around you from your spiritual team, and you have that guardian in place your bouncer, who is the checking IDs before they're allowed in. Okay, good. Now remember that that particular one lasts about 12 hours depending on what you have ingested. Okay, and that means, anything that is not healthy for you. Right. And with that, I hope you enjoyed that. And anything that was shared today that resonated with you, my suggestion is that you embrace it, pick it up and embrace it, and see how the day has unfolded for you or will continue to unfold for you, and how that all kind of looks for you with this information. And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. No worries. Just let it lie. Let it go. It wasn't meant for you. And like I always say just about every day is it's possible you're the messenger. And if you know somebody who would enjoy the conversation or has been looking for information like this, is to share the recorded video link with them. Yeah. And so tonight is my weekly show, Communications from Home. We're going to be talking about the November issue of the Star Nations magazine and highlighting the articles that appear, the titles appeared on the cover. We'll share about the cover and its creation and those kinds of things. And please come with ideas or suggestions of topics that you would like to hear Star Nations provide or see. Things that we could use topics for the live stream shows, and most certainly topics that we will include in the Star Nations magazine's 2019 topics list for the contributing writers to select from. So, and you can join me at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on Star Nation's main fan page, Star Nations Magazine Radio Network and Publishing, at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, good. And tomorrow is Wednesday. That means it's Polly Jola Bay's back with her hour and a half or so of healing and divine messages. And that name of that is Soul Connections. And you can find that live stream on her fan page, Chakra Sessions. And that's at 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. And with that, please enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully we'll see you back here this evening. And Baba Mina until we see each other again, which is tomorrow, right? For the tomorrow's live stream. I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.